Hi, so today we're going to be taking a look at the misconceptions around fractions. However, first let's take a look at, are your students making mathematical mistakes or do they have math misconceptions? Because we want to focus on misconceptions today. Let's look at the difference between the two. So a misconception is something that happens naturally as students are building their understanding and reasoning. Now, this misconception makes sense to the student because it's based on their understanding. Now, a mistake is different. A mistake is when a student misremembers or misunderstands factual knowledge, right? So they often show up when a student is trying to follow a rule or a procedure that they don't fully understand. Now, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at one misconception that students tend to have around fractions. So here's one of the biggest misconceptions that we've seen students have around fractions is that kids are seeing the numerator and denominator as two separate numbers instead of seeing a fraction as one as the quantity. So for example, let's say we have 3/4. They oftentimes, when there's a misconception, they're not thinking of 3/4 as 3/4 of a whole. Instead, they're seeing 3/4 as three as a separate number and four as a separate, almost like whole number. Now, why is this misconception an issue for us? It could lead students to do things like just add the numerators together or just add the denominators together, which we know doesn't work. One way that we can help students with this misconception is to help them count with fractions. We want them to see visual examples, of course, where they're seeing fractions as within a whole, right? Within one as a quantity. And counting with fractions oftentimes helps students with this misconception. So now we'd like to ask you, what is a misconception, not a mistake, a misconception that you've seen your students have around fractions? Leave a comment to let us know.